Greetings. Welcome to Dr. Neil's Spiritual Awakening to Non-Duality. This is Dr. Connie Zweig, and I'll be interviewing my husband who lives in spiritual awakening. You may have heard about this or read about it, but you may not know someone who lives it day to day. We'll be exploring how non-duality developed in Dr. Neil as I've observed it over 25 years, and as he directly experiences it every day. Each podcast will explore a different theme. We look forward to you joining us. Greetings. Welcome back to the podcast. We're going to talk today about transcending linear time. We've been discussing in a number of podcasts how Dr. Neil can see or hear or connect with non-local objects in space. And it occurred to us, space-time are the same matrix. And so we wanted to discuss this in the context of time and non-duality. Okay, take it away.
So ordinary consciousness assumes that we have such a thing called time, that there's a past, present, and a future, and that these are all part of our awareness and part of our development and growth, and that's true. It's in duality. We need to actually take care of these issues. We need to be active participants. However, if one looks more closely at time, the past is gone. One cannot really live and change things and grow things in the past, and the future is uncertain. I mean, we can project some ideas about the future, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And the present, the moment, is very transitory. It comes and goes. So as soon as we put attention on it, it actually disappears because it's now in the past. So time is a construct in the sense of the mind, the big mind. The dual consciousness actually is somewhat of an illusion.
Dual consciousness?
So the ego has duality, its consciousness.
So the ego lives in linear time.
Ego believes in linear time, but even with the ego, one can begin to examine time and see that it's Maya. It's somewhat of an illusion because one cannot change the past, one cannot project fully the future, and one cannot live in the moment because it's transitory. It goes as soon as you put attention on it.
My hunch is we needed to name them because it creates a narrative structure for the ego's life. I mean, the ego lives in narrative time, past, present, future, as a story.
Mm-hmm. All human beings live in that as egos. They live in a sense of time being part of the story of life. But the more subtle levels of consciousness don't have that.
What do you mean?
Well, if we take the divine level of consciousness and examine it, how does it relate to time? So divinity, from my perception, creates, maintains, and dissolves all in the same moment. So it doesn't have a sense of time. It's creating the entire cosmos, including the subtle planes, the astral, mental, Buddhic, Atmic, celestial plane. It's creating the entire cosmos and then dissolving it each moment. And in some ways making a story out of the process as well. So from a divine perspective, there is no such thing as time. Time is an illusion because from that point of view, there is no past, no future. It's all being created moment by moment.
And you said from your experience, so how do you experience that?
I experienced that sense. I was driving down the road in my car, and all of a sudden I realized that Brahma, the creator in Hinduism, was creating the whole story of what was in front of me, what I was. And Vishnu was making a story out of it. Vishnu, the god of story, the god of maintenance. And Shiva was destroying or undoing, taking it back into being, into its consciousness. And so for me, that awareness is there right now, that Brahma is creating this, or even in Western religion, God creates, God governs, and God dissolves. So there's awareness there that this is happening in time space.
And so, how do you live with that awareness and at the same time function in linear time?
Well, I'm not living in that awareness alone. I'm living in the ego state, which is necessary if one is not living in a cave or living in a monastery or an ascetic. It's necessary because you have to make choices and decisions, and the ego is the best tool for that. Of course, the soul is somewhere in the middle between these two layers, these two levels. So the soul is immortal. It comes into life and then moves on to death and between lifetimes and reincarnates again. So it has, and I'm aware of past lifetimes, and I'm aware of being in the present moment with my soul being present here in this body, in this room, in this cosmos, in this universe. So I'm aware of that.
But you use the word past lives.
Yes.
That sounds linear.
Well, the soul does live in a linear sense, but the linear sense is very vast. It's eternal, so it has no beginning and no end. So it's there forever. And in some ways, the soul can connect with the divine and can connect with the ego sense of time. So it's actually a bridge between the two.
So, soul time, we could call it, sounds more like it's cyclical rather than linear, in the sense that it's in the cycle of return, like the seasons, right? We're born, we die, we're reborn, we die, we're reborn. And in that process, the soul is evolving and carrying the consciousness that's evolving.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like that. The ego is born, is developed as part of the life cycle, and then dies or leaves itself and gets ideally reabsorbed into the soul. The soul is actually expressing itself through the ego, through the body, through the mind, through the heart. It's expressing itself and it's returning the fruits of the lifetime back into the soul. So that doesn't mean everybody has that process. So most people, when they die, go to the astral plane or the mental plane and continue to live out a personal life that's very identified with an ego structure. Yesterday, somebody told me that a good friend of mine, Barbara, visited with them, and it was very clear and very present. And she was on a mental plane.
She died several years ago.
No, it's probably about a year.
Oh, it's a year?
Yeah. So her sense was that she's still operating on that mental plane, and so she has an ego, a sense of separateness, an identity, and can communicate for people who are open to that.
So let's come back to our theme.
Mhm.
So Barbara's on the mental plane. What is her sense of time?
Oh, okay. So the time on the physical plane is very concrete. I mean, it's like a clock. Well, when you go to the astral plane, it becomes more fluid and a little less grounded. And the mental plane, even more so. So thoughts are creating your reality. So time is as much an illusion on the mental plane than it is on the ego plane, on the embodied ego plane.
So does Barbara have any sense of time passing or how long she's been there?
Let me ask her. She says it passes very quickly. Yeah, it comes and goes quite rapidly, more rapidly than the ego and physical plane.
So that's her subjective experience.
Subjective experience, just like my subjective experience is the ego experience, which is subject, object, and process, and linear time, and divine time, which is no time, because everything is created at the moment. There's no such thing as past or future, it's all the moment. And soul time, which is infinite and progressive and developmental. So, I assume this lifetime I'll be more advanced than the previous lifetimes, and future lifetimes I'll be more advanced than the present lifetime. Of course, there are some other subtle dimensions like emptiness, which is a divine level, true emptiness, the divine level. And obviously, time is created out of that. So, how would that happen? Well, that's sort of like the Big Bang. Before the Big Bang, there was emptiness. The divine was sleeping.
Void.
The void, the divine was in itself. And then the unmanifest universe was created in that space, kind of like the dreamer of the universe, dreamer of the cosmos. And so I can have a look at that by separating myself a little from that. And there's a knower or knowing that can experience that sense of unmanifest universe, can look into it and see it. And from the unmanifest universe, the manifest universe is created. That's the Big Bang. So there's this one specific point that's created out of nothing and explodes into time and space, initially by just being divine in a single moment, and then creating all the different layers of awareness in a moment. So,
but I find myself thinking automatically that that Big Bang is in the past.
Yeah, well, that's the human perspective. So we're looking at it in terms of something that happened from the past. But if you look at a telescope and you look at the furthest galaxies, and there are billions of them, but the furthest galaxies from the telescope, from the human eye, so to speak, one discovers that it takes something like 13 billion years for the light from the furthest galaxies to reach us. So what does that mean? That means that we are seeing something that happened 13 million years ago and doesn't exist, or probably doesn't exist anymore. It's probably dissolved or exploded, or maybe something has happened to it. So we're experiencing a sense of time out of context of what's going on. So
yeah, that's a great example, because we're seeing the past in the present. We're seeing the light from billions of years ago in this moment, and it doesn't even exist anymore.
right. So what's time? What does time mean? It's relative to our experience.
And what about psychology and its focus on the past?
Well, how would I describe this? I'm aware as an analytical human being of my teenage years and my adult years and my story. I'm aware as a psychologist, having delved into the unconscious material of my 5-year-old, 6-year-old experiences, and even deeper as a soul, having experienced also through psychology, 0 to 4 years old. I'm also aware with hypnotherapy, which I did 10 sessions on the birth canal, the experience of passing through the birth canal and the interuterine environment. So that's part of the consciousness of the soul. And I'm aware of that. in this moment, and also aware of myself coming into this body from the divine, another perspective.
From the source.
From the source, from the Brahma Loka.
Okay, but what I'm asking is, let's stay focused on time.
Mm-hmm.
So psychology is rooted in changing our past to expand our awareness or heal pain in the present,
Mm-hmm.
right? This field is rooted in linear time.
Yeah, some psychological models.
But you've had this experience with your own hypnosis and with hypnotizing other people, that those moments of early life are still here.
Mm.
They're present.
Everything is present in the moment.
So say more about that.
Yeah. Psychology is about bringing everything to the present. So one delves into the past because it informs the present. Does it mean it controls it? Not necessarily, but the past is a thought, is an idea, is a memory, is a construct. And while I was working in psychology, I used to do a lot of analysis of people's childhood in order to understand their present behavior. But I kind of woke up to the idea that that was actually somewhat regressive, and that it was better to be staying in the present moment and experiencing everything that the person was bringing to the present moment. And that was more and is more real.
Oh, so you changed your clinical practice because of that?
Yes, because I'm now living in the present moment. And it doesn't, even though I could understand the past, I had this habit for a while of when I would see a new patient, before they would walk in the door, I would go look psychically at them and see what their problem was and what caused it and what the remedy would be. And that gave me a sense of empowerment. But that was looking into the past with a psychic or a spiritual ability. But I found that living in the present moment is far more effective than delving into the past, because it's all here anyway.
It's in the body.
It's in the body, it's in the emotions.
It's in the mind, it's in the feelings, it's in the unconscious.
It's here. It's manifesting itself in the moment.
So it's an illusion that memory is in the past.
It's an illusion that memory is only in the past.
Ah,
So it's a way of looking at it. In other words, the ego wants to look at the past and protect against future issues that are difficult to deal with. Okay, but the truth about it is we're immortal beings. We don't have a beginning, and we certainly don't have an end as a soul. And the divine aspect of ourselves is creating and unfolding, taking back into itself its consciousness and our awareness at the same time.
so there are all these kind of little points that we're making, but I don't know if if the dots have been connected around the theme of time. The sense that I have is that the subjective sense of time is different in different levels of consciousness, and that you carry with you duality and the ego state and ordinary time, that you carry with you soul time and your awareness of the soul's births and rebirths
Mm-hmm.
and its eternal nature,
Mm-hmm.
and that you carry with you a sense of divine consciousness in which everything is created and maintained and destroyed in this moment, ongoing, which is a kind of a Zen thing, you know. Now, it's all here, now, in this moment.
Right.
So how do people apply this perspective in their own lives? How can this be helpful?
Well, it's helpful to see death as an illusion a sense of construct, because it removes the fear of death, or at least most of it. So that's a very helpful form of it. It's helpful to see things from the divine perspective because it's so more permanent and so much more heartfelt.
Doesn't feel permanent at all. To me, it feels completely fleeting.
Yeah, well,
If everything is in the moment.
in other words, if I look at the divine creation of this moment, everything that I can experience in this moment is created by the divine in this moment. It's magnificent. It's pure genius and pure bliss, and beyond the ability to even imagine. I mean, can you imagine a billion galaxies with each having a billion stars in it? It's beyond imagination. It's ecstatic. So to me, I live in a lot of bliss and joy and ecstasy because I perceive time as a construct.
You've really transcended linear time, even while you live in it as a body-mind, Dr. Neil. But your consciousness has gone beyond it. So it's kind of another duality that you've transcended. I mean, we've talked about all these different dualities.
Yes, it's a non-dual awareness, but also includes a dual awareness, and also includes the in-between awareness between non-dual and dual, which is infinite.
Okay, should we land there?
With pleasure.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you found our discussion insightful, there's a good chance your friends will too. And we'd love it if you could take a moment to share this episode with a friend who you believe would appreciate it. Help us spread the word and reach more people. And follow us on any platform. Turn on your episode notifications so you never miss new content. Thanks for being part of our podcasting journey.